Hello, everyone. I can see you all joining. So I'm going to wait a couple of minutes more till everybody's on and then we'll start. Okay, I think most people are on, so I'm going to start the presentation. But before I do, you'll see that the three of us are on the screen here. So I'm Rebecca Bartlett-Jones, Director of Green Key Global, and I have Ailey Carson with me. She is the communications, and also Anu with me, who's also communications. So the three of us are going to present to you today. And here's the agenda. We're going to go over quite a few things, but the most important thing is to tell you what to do next. What is it you need to do with our new upgrades? What is it you need to do with our new audit and assessment process? How do you do it? The step-by-step process of doing that. We have a couple of questions after that walkthrough. And then after that, we will have more information on some of our new developments like calculators and new programs, etc. And then we will have final questions after that. So I'm going to go ahead and start. All right, so we've been around for about 29 years. Believe it or not, sustainability was a thing back then, but of course now it's top of mind for everybody. We were established all the way back in 1994. And the different thing about our program and makes us unique is that we were created by hoteliers for hoteliers. So we really understand what the hotel needs and we really understand sustainability. So marry the two and we have something definitely fit for a hotel specifically. We are the leading sustainable certification program in North America, and we continue to be outpacing the industry with all of our new programs and updates. So how it works. This part hasn't changed, but for anybody new on the call, I'll just go over that. So our areas of assessment are in the areas of energy and water conservation, solid and hazardous waste management, indoor air quality, community outreach, which is really letting your local community know of your achievements in sustainability, telling them how to be involved and giving back to the community. An example might be if you have any leftover soap or even the soaps that have been used. Obviously, ideal now is bulk amenities, but if you have some left, you could maybe repurpose that and give that back to the community. There's an organization called Soap for Hope that does that. Building infrastructure, are all of your pipes sealed? No leakages anywhere? Land use, perhaps you, if you have land, perhaps you're irrigating it with that grey water from your sinks and showers, or rainwater. And then environmental management, that's either the general manager of the hotel, or if you're a brand, it could be the corporate management, where you find some of your policies there. And now we've added ESG, environmental social governance, and corporate and social responsibility, CSR, and regenerative tourism. So those are all the buzzwords, but there are new things in sustainability, and it includes things like diversity and community involvement. So demonstrating again how we are specific to hotels, we suggest that you form a green team to answer your assessment. Now, we know that it's not always possible because, of course, we know very well, being part of the Hotel Association, that we are still in trouble sometimes, and a general manager might be doing 5 jobs, might be short-staffed. So we've designed it in a way that either one person can answer all of the questions, or we can split it into these sections, and one person from each one of these areas, corporate environmental management, which is the GM, corporate office, or whomever is allocated, housekeeping, food and beverage, conference and meetings, and engineering. So all the people a representative from each one of these areas could be in the assessment at the same time. As long as you save your answers, that will work. Or you can have a big meeting and one person can answer the questions, or one person can answer all the questions. The assessment has changed in the way that there is a lot more to upload at the front end. For example, do you have a sustainability policy is the first question. It used to be just that, but now you have to upload the actual policy. So uploading the policy, then you move to the next question. So there's a lot more to upload, but it makes it easier when you get to audit. Okay, moving on. So this is the process. This is the part where you'll be most interested. And we're going to break this down a little bit later on. And Ailey's going to walk through the actual steps. And this whole deck will be sent to you. So don't worry about rushing to write down notes. You can go back to it, and it's also recorded. So if you're new, you begin to register online, just like it was before. And if you're an existing member, you go to renew your assessment in the members area. So you start to take your assessment. Like I said, it's a lot bigger now. So it's about 231 questions, and it used to be about 180. Now, the really good thing is if you are an existing member, your answers for all the other versions will move forward into this new version of the assessment. So you only end up answering the new questions and uploading any documents that are required. So you take your assessment and you submit it. Once you submit, you actually receive a scorecard, and this is new. So the scorecard will give you what your tentative rating is, from 1 to 5 keys, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, but all celebrated at all different levels. I should just add here, if you're a limited service hotel and there are questions about the pool, questions about outside restaurants, and you don't have any of those things, you just opt out of those sections, and then the assessment levels itself, so everyone has a fair chance at getting the same score. So you get your scorecard, and it's telling you, okay, you are this key level probably, but there are questions over here in housekeeping that you haven't answered and you probably could answer to get to the next level. So it's prompting you to move and try and get to the next level if you can. So you can sit here for a bit. You can like do your assessment, get your scorecard, go back and forwards to get a higher score if you want. But remember that you've got still a policy to get through before you are re-rated. So moving quicker than normal would be better here. So get your scorecard. So once you're ready and you've got your score that you want, you then submit for audit. Now, this is a brand new piece of the process. You submit for audit and your assessment is now locked. Now, with all the changes in sustainability, credibility and not greenwashing is absolutely key now. And all of our standards have been elevated so that we are now all working to new standards, which is one of the reasons that we had to change the whole of the assessment and now add audit. So everybody will be audited now. It's not a question of random auditing, it's every single person. So you've committed, you've sent in your assessment, now you've asked to be audited. Now, at this point, normally, you would be charged for audit. And let me explain. $500 would be a remote audit, and $2,500 is an in-person audit. Those two audits for all of our existing legacy members are completely free not the in-person, the remote audit is completely free for the next 3 years. So we recommend a remote audit over an in-person audit, the one that's free, obviously, because the in-person now has a huge carbon footprint, and that's why we had to put the price on it. And again, we are living up to these new standards of credibility in sustainability. So that is why there's a larger price on the on-site. But they are both just as remote, just as robust, just as credible, and the remote actually takes about 4 hours, whereas the in-person takes about 6 or 8 hours. But you're absolutely entitled to do whichever one you want, but we cover the remote audit free for the next 3 years. Okay, so you've submitted for your audit. So all of our audits are done by Control Union. They actually will get in touch with you and then book your audit within 90 to 120 days and sometimes sooner. So then you go through, you get your audit done, you'll get the date, you know everything that you need to do. So you will have either a phone, an iPad, or a computer, and so will the auditor. And you'll just walk around the hotel with them on a remote basis. They might take you into a fridge. They might ask you to go to a vacant guest room. They might want to go and see any area at all in the hotel that they wish. So you'll be with them on that journey. So once that is done, you will receive your certificate of certification. And honestly, when we look at everything, the certification levels are going up. We see way more people going up in keys, and actually so far no one's gone down in keys, which is great. So yeah, you'll get your new certification. You can actually also purchase a really beautiful like wooden plaque for your lobby if you want, and that certificate will be dated for that year, valid for 3 years. So then once that's done, we move over and you actually receive a performance report. Now this performance report will tell you in the first half, listen, these are all the things that you've done really, really well in. These are your scores. You can take this first half and you can talk to your stakeholders with the things that you've done. You can take it to your staff and show them all the great things that you're doing and have done. And then the second half of the performance report will tell you what you can do in the future and what you can do better, even if you're 5 keys. So that report takes 2 sides, and both sides are just as important, but it actually forms like a map for you moving forward on your journey in sustainability. After that, the last step on my map here is that we then help you with your marketing efforts. Ailey's going to go over this a little bit later, but there's many things that we can do for you, including social media, case studies, and even just as simple as the tools that we have available. For example, you need to tell your guests that you are sustainable and why their towels are not getting changed every day, why there's not so much water in their toilets, all those things. And once they understand, they will be on board and probably help the cause. But those things need to be communicated. So we have templates for that. We have examples for you. So moving on. Yeah, so if you are a member of any one of these hotel chains, you actually have even more help with the assessment. So let me explain. Everybody, no matter who they are, whichever property, has a help button next to the questions in the assessment. So I'll take that first question again. Do you have a sustainable policy? If you don't, you can click the little help button within the assessment. Everybody can, no matter if they're with these groups or not. And you will get a template from us that you can download, make your own, and adopt as your own. Now, we've gone a step further, and all of these major chains that we speak to and have agreements with have actually gone ahead and put additional help in the assessment if you are one of these hotels. So it only comes up to say if you're a Hyatt, you'll only get the Hyatt help, obviously. You won't get access to anyone else's help. But the Hyatt help might tell you, okay, so this question, Hyatt actually has a policy already. Here it is, download it. So that's how that works. And it's increasingly with hotel groups and brands, they're increasingly doing that. We're trying to make it easier for you to succeed. Okay. So the process walkthrough, Ailey is just going to jump on and she's going to walk you through in detail the steps that I have just mentioned. Go ahead, Ailey.
Thank you, Rebecca. So now I'm going to walk through the process and how to complete your assessment and get to that audit step, that brand new step that before wasn't the same. So this is going to be a bit different than what you're used to if you've already done it, or it's a brand new process if you're a new property. So to get started, you log into the members area. If you don't have your credentials, you can click forgot password, or you can reach out to me and I can give you your login credentials. You'll see my email at the end of this presentation, and you'll also receive an email from me to send you this presentation, so you can reply right to that. Once you've logged on to the members area, this is what your dashboard will look like. Your first step to take the new version of the assessment, whether you're a new hotel or you're an existing member, is to click that Get Started button. Now, if you're an existing member and you've taken the assessment before, your page will look like this. You can either view the assessment that you've done before or retake the assessment. So your next step is to click Retake Assessment. And then you'll get a notification that looks like this, which says that the request has been processed, and you'll get an email when it's ready to go and you can take the new assessment. Once you receive that email, you can just refresh the page or relog in, and then you go back to that same area on the dashboard. And now the next time you click Take Assessment, your screen will look like this. This is also how your screen will look if you are brand new to Green Key and haven't taken the assessment yet before. So you can feel free to watch this video. It's a really helpful video that walks through the entire process. There's also some helpful information here, like who should complete the assessment, how to complete the assessment, and just some additional support, as well as the terms and conditions. Whenever you're ready, you just click Begin Assessment. So now that you've gone through the assessment and answered all the questions, you're going to get a self-assessment checklist. So this checklist will flag everything that you're missing, whether it's documentation or missing information. In the case of this example, we forgot the name of the person who completed the engineering section and the job title. So the assessment can't be submitted until these have been fixed, and you'll get all of them listed that you need to go back and fix. So then you go back in the assessment and you add documentation that's missing, or in this case, you add the person and the job title who completed that engineering section. So once you've gone through this checklist and made sure that everything is there as needed, you can then go back and retake the assessment once you've gotten the preliminary score. So Rebecca mentioned earlier, when you're done the assessment, you get a score of where you're sitting at, and it'll tell you tips on how to move up to the next level or improve your rating. You're welcome to go back and retake the assessment as many times as you want at this phase, but you don't need to. You can also just move right on to the next step, but you just click that retake assessment button right there if you want to do it again. So then once you've gone through, you're happy with your assessment answer, everything that needs to be there has already been uploaded. So that document check is fully checked off. There's no more things flagged. You're ready to go and book the audit. So as Rebecca mentioned, the legacy members actually get a complimentary audit this year. So when you get your invoice, it'll actually be an invoice of $0 if you book the virtual audit. We recommend the virtual audit for many reasons, including this offer for legacy members, but also because it's not only more cost efficient, it's also better for the environment because there's no carbon footprint associated with it. But of course, you're welcome to choose either virtual or on-site. So whenever you're ready, you just click the button to choose which audit you want, and then you'll get an email with your invoice. As a legacy member this year, your invoice will be $0. So once you've gotten that email, your next step is to go back onto the members area in the same place that everything else has done. So in that assessment area on the dashboard. Then your next step is to click the next tab that says Request Audit. So from there, you just click the Request Audit button, and within 90 to 120 days, an auditor will be in touch to schedule the audit with you. So once you've done the audit and you've gotten your official certification, you will now be able to download the certificate at any point in the dashboard. So every year, this certificate will be updated with the year. And then every 3 years, when you need to redo the assessment audit, you'll be notified and you'll have to go in and redo this process. But you'll be able to get your certificate at any point by clicking that Download Your Certificate. We also have a lot of tools on this dashboard. So we have the Market Your Efforts, which has all of our marketing materials. So we have some guest-facing materials that you can use. We're building out in-room ads. We're building out a guest-facing landing page. And we also have guest-facing one-pager that you can use when a guest registers that talk about sustainability at your hotel and what it means to be certified in sustainability by Green Key Global. There's also some tools that help talk about sustainability with staff and help keep them up to speed with all of the initiatives that you're doing. As well as these marketing materials, we also have a lot of tools to improve your rating, and we're constantly updating those as well. So from here, you can find stuff like industry stats, calculators that we're building out that Rebecca will get into later. There's also departmental checklists that you can use that tell you how to be sustainable in different areas, and these day-to-day practices that you can use to boost sustainability at your property. So all of this is available to you at any point at the members area. So make sure you go back there often if you're ever looking for ways to improve your rating. So now I'm going to open up the floor for any questions about the process. This is just questions so far. We're going to do another session at the end, but this is just to make sure that you're clear on the process. And if you have any questions at this point about how to take the assessment, how to go to the audit process and stuff like that, that we can answer anything. And Anu is going to hop on and moderate the questions for us.
Hi, Anu. Just let us know if there are any questions at this point.
I do see one hand raised, Anu.
Yeah, we have one hand raised, but you can type down a question in the Q&A spot if you want.
I just allowed you to talk, Eleanor, so whenever you're ready, you can unmute and ask your question. I'm not sure if you're speaking, but we can't hear you right now. Very, very quietly.
I have a question regarding the document that we need to submit. I'm part of Fairmont Le Manoir Richelieu, and currently, like, I am doing the process right now of the assessment, but I would like to know, like, term of documentation, if it's okay to submit the documentation on a corporate level, or we need to submit it on a hotel level. This is my question.
Okay, you need to submit it on a hotel level, but if you're provided with that document from the corporate office, you can submit that. But each individual hotel needs to submit their own documents. But if it's provided to you by any one of your corporate offices, absolutely, you can upload that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Eleanor. Great question. And no, anything else, or can we move on?
We can move on. We don't have any questions for now.
Thank you very much. All right, so keeping pace with sustainable evolution. There we go. So we've made, as mentioned, a lot of upgrades to our programming. We were extremely lucky to be the recipient of some fabulous government funding. They obviously believe in our program and recommend us to everyone. The government corporate travel program recognizes that you need to be sustainably certified and recommends that you use Green Key Global. But saying that, we are now aligned with all 17 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Previously, we were aligned with 7, which was still very good. But now, once you've done your assessment, you can say, our hotel is aligned with 17 of the Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations, which is quite the boast. Moving on. Right, so these are the new things that we have developed. So we have, as mentioned before, a rigorous online audit process now. So audit must be granted for certification, and that is now so credible and extremely sought after in the industry and definitely recognized. We have a new user improvement in the assessment. So the help option has been elevated. It's easier for you to answer the questions. And then we've upgraded the assessment in the ways I mentioned in diversity, community, CSR, and ESG. And we now are building out an expanded vetted supplier program. So what that means is that if you use one of our suppliers that are recommended, if you wanted to, the list is growing. They would have filled out a mandatory code of conduct, and been vetted for being green, so you know that you can use them. So these are even more of our developments. So we have a return on investment calculator that is completely free, that's coming soon. So an example of that would be maybe if you were thinking about using solar power in your hotel, you would put in solar power and then they would ask you some questions about where you're facing, sunwise, and other questions related. And then it would spit back out the long and short-term gains and the long and short-term funding that is needed. And altogether, if it's a good idea, maybe it isn't for your property, maybe you should stick with another power source. But that is available in the return on investment calculator, soon to be launched in the Q1 of next year. We have a lot of new resources in the way of webinars from scientists and sustainable experts, as well as our suppliers. So that's pretty exciting. That's coming your way. You'll hear about it in the newsletter that Anu puts together, or by individual email. Group email. We have a new meetings program, which will also be aligned with the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, who aligns our standard right now, as well as a number of ISOs. There's going to be a data partner. What this data partner are doing for us is providing even better reports for you. So you can actually benchmark yourself against the rest of the membership. Another calculator we're providing is the carbon accounting calculator. This is again free of charge, and it will help you develop your carbon footprint number. We also are partnering with a carbon accounting firm, who can actually help you on your journey as well. It's not a free service, but it's discounted. But if you're looking for someone to help you measure, help build policies for you, we have some people to help you. One of the really exciting things that we have just developed is our carbon neutral event certification. So what that is we can now help you declare any meeting, event, congress, any type of meeting at your property or corporate office. We can help you declare that meeting carbon neutral. So how it works again is a form of a calculator. You'll be asked questions like, okay, where are all your people coming from? What destinations? Are they coming by plane? Are they carpooling? Are they biking? Are they walking? Like, how are they getting to your event? What type of menu have you got? Has it got a vegan option? What AV company are you using? Are you using local suppliers? Are your condiments served in large bowls, or are they individually wrapped? Are you serving bottled water, or do you have jugs of water? All of those things will be answered in that calculator. And then the first thing to do is to help you change behavior if you do have a carbon footprint, which you're going to have a carbon footprint if you've got anyone arriving other than walking or biking. And so what's left over after we help you change behavior would be the amount of carbon that you need to offset. So we work with Carbon Zero, and we have a greatly discounted offset program with Carbon Zero. So then you would need to purchase an offset to bring that carbon neutral number down to 0. So then you can stand up at your meeting anytime from when this is launched, which I guess is in a couple of weeks, it's being launched. You can stand up in front of your meeting and say, this event is carbon neutral. You should get a big round of applause for that. Moving on. Yeah, so this is the fee structure. So if you're in the US, the fee is $9.50, and if you're in Canada, the fee is $7.50. But if you are a member of any of the large corporate agreements that we've signed, then you will have a negotiated fee as well. So you can contact us to find out what that is, or your corporate office, of course. The audit's the same for everybody. So for everybody existing, our legacy members, it's free for the next 3 years, but it's $500 for a remote audit lasting 3 years. Additional audits in between would be another $500 if you want to try and move up within that 3 years and retake your assessment and audit. Or if you choose to go on site, it's $2,500. So Abe's going to jump back in and tell you all the things we're going to say to you.
Thank you, Rebecca. So after this presentation, we're going to send you a copy of this PowerPoint, and we're also going to send you a Dropbox link that has a lot of helpful information. So with the Dropbox link, you'll get a roster of info pages. So these pages include our program information pages, so the eco rating program, the meetings program, and also the carbon neutral program that Rebecca mentioned earlier. There's also a staff onboarding page that helps teach you how to talk to staff about your sustainable initiatives, and also how to train new staff in sustainability. There's also those guest-facing materials that I mentioned earlier, and a what to expect document with guidance video links. So these videos help walk you through the assessment and audit process, and it gives you a high-level overview of what we talked about today for your next steps on proceeding through the new assessment and audit process. There's also some FAQs, including general frequently asked questions and audit-specific questions. I highly recommend taking a look at that and seeing if there's anything that maybe you didn't even think about that is helpful to know, or maybe your question has already been answered in that document. There's also a mandatory questions document, also known as the requirements for Green Key. So these are the questions that you must answer in order to get certified. So stuff like a sustainability policy and an action plan. These are questions that you have to answer and have in order to get certified. We do have templates for these as well, which is also included in this. There's also Green Key global branding assets, so logos that you can put on your website or in your email signature and stuff like that, as well as those departmental checklists that I talked about earlier. So being sustainable in your day-to-day in the different departments across your hotel. In the Dropbox link, there's also animated videos, including an About Green Key Global video, talking about sustainability at your hotel. This is helpful to how to talk about it to staff and to guests. There's one on the carbon neutral event program that Rebecca mentioned. And then there's one that's really fun. It talks about how to be sustainable in different areas of your hotel. So it pretty much walks through a hotel and says different tips and facts about different areas and ways that you can improve sustainability just across those areas. There's also the assessment and audit walkthrough videos. So it goes through how to take the assessment, what your steps are, where to find the help, as well as how to prepare for the audit. Some future additions to that Dropbox link will include some in-room ads that we're currently working on. These are really helpful to put in a guest room so that they can come in and they can see, oh, this property is certified and this is what it means. We're also building out a really helpful toolkit that includes a whole list of digital marketing materials like a website copy, social media copy, press release copy, blog copy that you can use however you see fit.
All right, thank you, Ailey. So we will move to question time with a new. Just before we do that, I just wanted to note that every new member from now on will get a tree planted for them. And it's kind of cute. You can see a picture of your tree, and then you can check in online on how your tree is doing in the future. But over to you, Anu.
Thank you, Rebecca. So we currently do not have any questions in the Q&A section, but we do have some frequently asked questions by members. So I will just read out a few of them. One of those questions is, what employees need to be around when completing the online self-assessment?
Okay, so that is really up to the hotel. So you could just have the one person that is responsible that for pulling the whole assessment together, or you can have a number of people. We always suggest having that one person for the whole thing, but you can pull in any members of the green team at any time if you need to.
All right, so Eleanor actually has another question. I'm going to allow her to talk.
Eleanor,
you can unmute whenever.
Hello, can you hear me now?
yes.
Perfect. I had a question regarding the carbon neutral certification. Would it be an additional cost, or because we are really interested about this new certification that you just talked about?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question, Eleanor. I should have mentioned that. No, it's free of charge, the service. The only cost would be the carbon offset at the end. Thank you.
All right, so we have some questions in the Q&A. So Marie Noel Caffo asked, what is a legacy company? So what are we referring to when we say a legacy hotel?
Thank you for asking that. Yeah, it's kind of an internal speak, I guess. So it just means an existing member. So for us, our existing members are the most important part of our program. And we have put together a whole team of people to help you. And two of them are on the screen now, Ailey and Anu. So a legacy member is all of you that have been in the program up until now.
And then she also wants to know, how do I know if I have paid my membership yet, as I'm part of a multi-property company?
Ah, okay. So two things. If you're paying your individual membership by yourself, you will get a receipt for that. If your membership is paid by a corporate entity, you need to just, and you can do this anyway, you need to log on to your profile. And if you do not know your profile password and access, you can email Ailey and she will give it to you. So you need to log on and then it will tell you if you have or have not paid. Yes, that would be the answer.
And Marie, what I can suggest is sending us an email after this and just let me know what properties, and we can take a look if they're part of the program and if they've been paid. So another question also from Marie, when I try to complete the assessment, it requests me to put my new information and choose the cost, which I do not need to, as it has been paid for all of our properties by the executive.
Sometimes there is a promotional code that you have to put in there. You know what? Why don't you just email that question to Ailey and we will discuss that offline with you, because that's not a normal thing that happens. So there might be a glitch or something. So let us help you there. You're absolutely right. That shouldn't happen. But let's sort that out offline. Thank you.
All right. And then we have another from Eleanor. Question regarding the remote audit. How long will it last? And will the auditor ask for additional documentation?
Oh, brilliant question. You should be asking all our questions, Eleanor. Yeah, so it takes about 4 hours. Can be a little less, could be a little more, depending on the size of the property, but traditionally about 4 hours. And then, yes, documentation on site. So all the documentation you need is uploaded beforehand. But if you have anything additional or if you've changed the documentation, you can absolutely bring it with you on the on-site, on the remote audit.
And then Marie says, thank you. She will email us.
All right. Anu, do we have a couple more questions?
We have some FAQs that we can also ask and address. There is a question about the assessment. Someone wants to know if they have made recommended changes in their preliminary score report. Can they retake the assessment before booking an audit?
Absolutely. So in that area where you are submitting your assessment for the first time, or the renewal for the first time, it will give you a scorecard. That scorecard tells you your key level. And then it will also tell you that there's some questions that you could be answering to move up a level. So you can sit there and you can keep going back and forth for as long as you like, retaking the assessment. But we recommend that you do move forward from there to get through to the audit so you can get your certification and your new ranking at the end. Okay, thank you.
All right, so we have 2 more questions in the chat. One is, how does the carbon neutral fee help make now we have 3 questions. How does the carbon neutral fee help make events zero carbon footprint?
Okay, so when you, it's not really a fee, you're paying for a carbon offset. So it's similar to when you book a flight and it lets you know if you wanted to offset carbon for this journey, then you can pay such and such amount. So Carbon Zero are an offset company that we have partnered with. And when you pay your fee to them, there are 3 different projects that you can choose from. So it might be a deforestation project. It could be a wind farm project. It could be any one of those things that your money will go towards helping the environment be carbon free, or have less carbon. So you are paying into a scheme to help the planet, and that is offsetting your carbon so that it becomes neutral.
All right. And then Eleanor is asking, will pictures work as documentation? For example, for HK to reuse linen, they do not have a policy, but they have signage in the rooms. In this case, is a picture enough?
If it's the first question you're talking about, do you have a sustainable policy, then it wouldn't be enough. You need an actual policy that is signed off on by either the general manager or corporate. If it is a picture of an answer of a question, like a picture of a water tank or a picture of one of your gas bills or something like that, then yes, we can accept them.
All right. And now Mario is wondering, there has been an important staff change in our property and the past assessment and login credentials are unknown. How can I retrieve them?
Oh, okay. This happens often, Mario. So all you need to do is email Ailey and she will give you the passcodes and you can change them to what you want.
Yeah, so Mario, just let me know what the property is and I will get you set up. And Eleanor just wanted to clarify that her question was not related to the policy. So if that's the case, then yes, you can submit a photo.
You can indeed.
All right, that's it for questions in the queue. Do we want to, oh, one more question. Will there be a certificate provided for the carbon offset fee?
Absolutely. There will be a certificate which you can display and you can actually put digitally on the screen of your meeting before you start.
Okay, I think that's it for questions in the queue.
Perfect. Thank you, Anu and Ailey. And so those were some really great questions. And like I said, this has been recorded, so you can go back and review those questions if they apply to you. Yeah, we have this webinar every couple of weeks for a while, and the schedule will be sent out to all of our members. So if you decided that you wanted to come on, if you started your assessment and you have more questions, then either do that, come on to our next webinar, or email Ailey. And if you don't get hold of her for any reason, Anu and myself are also available to answer any questions at all that you have. Oh, do we have another question?
Yes, before we hop off, one last question. So this property is currently certified until 2023. What is the deadline to submit the assignment for 2024?
Right, so upon your renewal date, you would have got an invoice a month before. So you need to complete your assessment and do your audit. You need to start the process then. But you do have a year to go through that. But if you want to get your free audit, you should do it this year.
Perfect. That's it for questions.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a pleasure. I hope that you have the information you need to move through the process. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.